The City of Waterloo, in cooperation with its many active and inspiring entities, presents Heart for the City, a chance to hear and see what's going on in our city and to meet people who serve you, teach you, entertain you, help you, all neighbors and like you. Make this a city on the move. And now, here's our host.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on Heart for the City. I'm Quentin Hart, proud mayor of Waterloo. And once again, we will be meeting some people that make this city an excellent place to work, live, and play. So let's get to it. But on this show, I would like to acknowledge the many dedicated employees that serve our city.
Hold up. Wait a minute. I'm going to interrupt you here, Mayor Hart. We want to turn the tables on you. I know usually you are the host of this program, but today we'd like to put you in the hot seat, and I will be doing the honors as the host, asking you the questions.
Tara Thomas, welcome to Heart for the City. And as our viewers probably know that you left a high-profile job of co-anchor with Ron Steele on KWWL TV in 2013 to accept a position with the Waterloo School District as Director of Community and School Relations. So I didn't know that you were going to be on our guest list for today.
Well, I am honored to come back in this role and go back to my roots, if you will, from television. This is the 50th show of Heart for the City, so we're going to celebrate. So as we prepare, take a seat and we'll get started.
All right. Okay, but no tricky questions.
No tricky questions.
All right.
Welcome to the Waterloo Regional Airport. Waterloo Regional Airport is served by American Airlines with daily flights to Chicago O'Hare and connections anywhere in the world. Our airport offers convenient and easy access, fast security lines, $6 daily parking, and comfortable passenger waiting areas. Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, fly ALO. Visit us online to book a flight or to check our flight schedule. Fly with us today.
Welcome back to Heart for the City. I'm Tara Thomas, filling in as your host. Our special guest is Mayor Quentin Hart, the usual host of this program. You all know him. You all love him. He was the first African-American mayor elected in the history of the city of Waterloo. Tell us when you first made your move into politics.
Oh my God, where do I begin? I may have to date my age on that, but probably in about 2001, I was went for a seat on the state legislature against former state representative Deb Berry for the nomination, and I ended up losing that one. And then she vacated the council seat, so I ran for her council seat, and I ended up losing that one too. But I stayed very active in the community, was fortunate to put together a couple different programs, and finally in 2007, I became city councilman for Ward 4. So.
And you were not deterred by the two losses. In fact, maybe that perhaps motivated you to change how you were presenting yourself as a candidate. Tell us the process that made you not sort of give up on it.
Well, after the Depression. No, but I think every time I ran, I had an opportunity to take a look and assess exactly what happened. The first time, I was a newcomer. No one really knew about me. And I came in second in a primary out of 4 people. So that was good. Some long-term Democrats, God bless Milvina Scott,
yes.
But came in second behind Deb. So I kind of saw that's a good one. Then when I ran for city council against Mr. John Kincaid, I think I lost by about 57 votes, but I won, I think it was 5 out of 6 precincts. So that's still a good measure. And just stayed active, stayed busy, and did the assessments every time. And yeah.
Was it that you felt you had the ability to be a leader, or did someone tap you and say, we'd like you to run for this seat or consider getting into politics?
Well, my road was a little bit different because every time I got ready to run, folks were like, don't do it. You're going to split the votes, or you're too young, or people don't know you, you don't have any experience, and I was fortunate enough to have Mrs. Oh my God, I can't believe just drew a complete blank. Folks in Highland and folks supported me, and there were people that continued to come on and just just support. So it just grew from there. But I always felt like I had a calling to serve, and that was what I was supposed to be doing at that time.
You're a native of Waterloo.
Mm-hmm.
What was growing up here like, and how did it influence you to ultimately try to and achieve taking the helm as a leader?
Well, I was fortunate because, I grew up with just a lot of support within the community, saw a lot of programs, but I saw the transition and change within our community over the course of the 80s. So I went to school, went to East High School, got an education, came back to this community, and I felt like that was the best way for me to actually be able to serve. So I got involved, anything from the NAACP to the United Way boards. I served as much as I could. I got involved as much as I could, whether it was coaching football or anything else, but I just have a servant's heart. I want to be there to try to help people, and this is the way that I felt like I could be the most productive in doing that.
And we should mention your wife is an administrator,
She is.
as well as First Lady in the Waterloo Schools. Your children are also a part of the district.
Yeah.
You're very immersed in the city that you lead. Your family is one that must be proud of your achievement. And how do you carry the burden? Because as the first African American mayor, there's that added layer of, you're a role model, particularly to many children who can look up to you and say, he looks like me. How do you shoulder that burden?
That is a good question. Well, other than walking on water, no. At this point, I just do the best I can with what I'm given. Try to be respectful. And I remember a lot of the lessons that I learned along the way. A lot of people think politics, yes, I study, yes, I read, yes, I know a little bit of math, and I know all that. But it's some of those simple lessons that I learned from my mother and father. It's the work ethic that I received. Seeing my dad go to work at 3:30 in the morning so that he can put me to school, or seeing my mom walk back and forth to work every day to care for people. But those are the lessons, My mom used to say, just because you don't get along with someone, Quentin Michael, make sure you're kind to him. And, my dad was a little bit fiery. He's like, stand up for what you believe in. So I just had a little bit of balance from all that. But I'm very fortunate because there are so many people that have along the pathway to get to where I'm at, have spoken life into where I'm at right now. And, I feel like I don't have to go to work. I feel like I get to go to work because every day I can wake up and say, this is how I want to serve, this is what I want to do, this is how I can do it better. And this is a lifelong, I can't say it was something that I thought about growing up, but I'm like living out my purpose like right now. So I'm very fortunate to everyone, and the bumps and the roads and all those things, but I'm just fortunate for this opportunity in life.
And when you think of the bumps, it would be an understatement to say that politics today on any level is divisive.
Right.
When you think of some of the sensationalized media coverage, perhaps, of a city council meeting and how you have to lead and guide and work through those issues with so many different personalities and individuals that are perhaps representing different viewpoints or factions. How do you navigate that and still want to continue in a leadership role when some people might say, I'm done with the city politics and the infighting, I'd like to put it behind me?
Well, my knees are probably a little scarred because I pray a lot, right? And but there's something that comes to mind. I have to think of greater good, and I think of purpose. So the greater good is, in that situation, what's the greater good in the long-term situation? Because people may not like the decisions that you made now, but in the end, what's going to produce the greater good out of that situation? So, I don't necessarily it's hard sometimes because sometimes people can misjudge you based upon who they believe you are. And some people may not even know you, but think you're a certain way. But yet and still, I know who I'm created to be. I know the type of person that my parents raised me to be, and so I just try to follow that track as much as I can. And I'm not, not everybody's going to be happy with me. Not everybody's going to be upset with me. But the only thing I can do is try to follow that purpose that I believe that was placed on my heart. And I know that's not a political answer, but I'm not much of a political person. Don't laugh. Because what it boils down to, the city of Waterloo is where I was born and raised, where my children are, where your children are, and I want to see a better Waterloo. And that is a real clear focus and vision.
Well, I appreciate that. It's a great note to end this segment on, and we are going to talk about a day in the life of Mayor Quentin Hart. If you can shed some of those behind-the-scenes details for us when we come back.
All right.
Getting healthy has never been easier with a membership at Cedar Valley Sportsplex. Offering 80 free classes a week at all skill levels, there's always new and fun opportunities to grow. You never have to miss out on your favorites with our state-of-the-art facilities, featuring great exercise equipment, a track and field, pool, and 2 regulation gyms. So whether your game is football or pickleball, let the Cedar Valley Sportsplex turn your routine into something amazing.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Tara Thomas, filling in for the one and only Mayor Quentin Hart on this, the 50th show of Hart for the City. Can you believe that? As we know, Waterloo functions under a council-strong mayor system, or as some of you may not know, that is one where the mayor has significant but not total autonomous authority. And under this system, then council members are in charge of the legislative processes, while the mayor is responsible for all the administrative duties. So the mayor in this type of government is responsible for hiring or firing staff. He has veto, he or she, in this case, he has veto power and is responsible for implementing legislation passed by the council members. The mayor also is responsible for ceremonial duties, and it's all in accordance with Iowa code. It is complex, but it's a simple process if you know and love Mayor Hart, because he sometimes, I'll admit, makes it look easy for the rest of us. So talk about a typical day if there is one, because when you think about the demands made on you, there's going to be those show up, glad hand, ribbon cutting. But then there's all the other mess, so to speak, that the general public doesn't know you're dealing with because it's the unexpected and the things that are happening behind the scenes. Talk us through some of the things you navigate in a typical day.
Oh my goodness, what is today? So I don't. Every day is different, but ton of meetings. Whether it's meeting with staff members, whether it's meeting with business people, whether it's meeting with citizens that may want to address a complaint. Whether it's meeting with Dr. Lindemann, but whatever it is, a ton of meetings every day, different issues, different variety, but also just being out in the community, being out in the public, talking to people, ribbon cuttings, meetings, just a different variation every day. And then once all that's done, then I try to be able to make it home at some point to say something to my children
Right.
As well. But it's Saturday through Saturday, Saturday events, Sunday events, and every day in between.
How do you balance keeping abreast of all of your commitments, but also being flexible enough when a man comes in to complain about a pothole? Can we have access to you on your calendar? And if so, how would one get an audience with Mayor Hart?
Just call the office. And if there's, so normally my administrative assistant, if there's a problem or somebody wants a pothole, for instance, taken care of, then she can kind of steer it to where they can get the quickest results instead of having to come to me, then move over into another area. Sometimes she screens all the emails to make sure that we can't help a resident right then instead of it going to me, then to a department head. So she helps out with a lot of what's taking place. And for so many years, Michelle Westfall,
Yes.
My first 3.5 years she was there, and now Kendra Wyatt is there to help with that. But having tremendous staff to be able to take on some of those burdens, but you call the office and you can get a meeting.
What is the email address that we can use, because we don't want to waste time looking up the phone number?
Right, mayor@waterloo-ia.org.
Okay, mayor@waterloo-ia.org.
Yeah.
And they will be checked. They're not going to land in a black hole inbox.
They may not be returned for. Oops, I have to tell you, but you will have some.
You can
response
expect
to
it to be addressed. That's great to know.
Yeah.
And I agree, having used that email, that my issue or email was addressed in a timely manner. So that's a credit to you and your staff. So we talked about that form of mayor and how it is, or structured government here, how it is really giving you a lot more concentrated power than perhaps other municipalities. What are the pros and cons of that structure?
The pros are, that it's a balance of power. You have the city council and 4 votes to make something move, and you have the mayor if staff tries to put something forward, so they can also say no as well. In some forms of government where you have a city manager or a city administrator, their job is always at stake, change of council or those things. So they're always at stake. So I'm elected just like our city council members are elected as well. And I get an opportunity to be I won't say politically influenced, but I get an opportunity to be out in front on a lot of those decisions so that I can understand and then communicate that to the public, because I'm at the Irish Fest, I'm at the Northeast Fest, I'm at the school meetings, I'm all of those places, so I get an opportunity to be up close and personal with people. The cons is I'm everywhere, everywhere, and our city's moving into a position where we're making more strategic decisions, but my first couple years has been trying to put those things in place with staff and the council to where we're thinking a lot more strategically going down the line. So if something ever happened to Mayor Hart, you still have a building plan. If something happens to Mayor Hart, you still have a strategic plan. So just trying to help us to make more strategic decisions moving forward so that regardless of who we have in there, they can continue doing those things they need to do. Because the worst thing you can do is have a person in a position, once they leave, all the intellectual property that they've gained over the course of time is gone as well. So it is that portion about being more strategic in what we do.
That makes sense. When you think about reaching out, you have a good relationship with Mayor Jim Brown over in Cedar Falls. Obviously, through your networking with other mayors, you've probably formed somewhat of a partnership or a social level of trust with some of these folks. But you are unique because you're in a role of being the first African-American mayor in a city in Iowa that is unique and that we have per capita a larger population of people of color.
Right.
How does that then put you on a higher stage? Who are some of the people that have reached out to you or connections you've made that wouldn't have otherwise been happening in Waterloo, Iowa, were it not for this unique position that you're in?
Well, one of the things I wanted to do, regardless of the community and demographics, I wanted to take the name of the city of Waterloo across country, across the world, across state, to let people know who we are as a community. And I get an opportunity absolutely to share the demographics and brag on Waterloo Community Schools and having the first French and English dual immersion classes and all the dialects that are spoken within our school district. I get an opportunity to talk about those on multi-levels. I was just in Germany a couple months ago, and I got an opportunity to tell all these people who we are as a community or state level. I've been able to build a relationship with Mayor Jim Brown, but also Mayor Eric Garcetti in Los Angeles, and learn about some of the challenges they're facing and how they were able to overcome. Mayor Steve Benjamin was one of the first mayors across the country to reach out to me, who was the former conference mayor, who is kind of like a heavyweight and a mentor to so many people, but that access and that opportunity and being involved in the Conference of Mayors, the Iowa League, all of those things weigh in benefits. And people are now asking the question, like, what are you guys doing? What have you done? How's the tide change and what are you doing? But, and I have a good council to work with as well that I listen to a lot.
Well, I love that, putting Waterloo on the map. And any of you looking to run for mayor, take note. It may be, as we're hearing, a lot more work than you think, plus everything that you do or say, especially today with smartphones, can and will be recorded or commented on Facebook and Twitter. So next we're going to talk about Mayor Hart, how he deals with the social media, the paparazzi, if you will, and his vision for the future. Stay with us.
There's a place that lies directly between where you've been and where you're going. It's the place in the middle, the place where your past and future connect. Hawkeye Community College is that place, connecting you to great faculty, engaged students, and four-year destinations like the University of Northern Iowa. Every masterpiece starts with a blank canvas, and every success story begins with an empty page. Start writing your story today. Hawkeye Community College. Connect.
Hey everyone, I'm Tara Thomas. Welcome back. We are talking with Mayor Quentin Hart on this, the 50th episode of Hart for the City, where I have the pleasure of doing the honors of your host, and the mayor gets to be on the hot seat as we ask him burning questions that you, the citizens of Waterloo, would like to know but may not have the opportunity to ask. Among them would be, what's your vision? What's your plan? Because now, this many months into his term, people always want to go back to the person that they perhaps voted to elect and say, okay, well, what have you done? I understand you really campaigned on and wanted to execute a 5-point plan. So tell us about that plan and how it's going and how you feel it's rolling out.
Okay. The question when people ask about what have you done, I always like to say, what have we done? And the reason being, the mayor can't do all of these things himself. I get to work with an incredible staff or team of folks that are working hard every day behind the scenes. And I'm the ceremonial head, but there are folks working every day. But the 5 things that I campaigned and believed in were, 1, economic development, and making sure that regardless of where you're at in this community, you see some times of life and vitality. So I'm very fortunate. We just ended this year with the second highest economic development permit valuations that we've had in the history of the city. Number 2 was dealing with safer streets, and I just got an email from Chief Trucker the other day, juvenile offenses are down about 71% since 2009, and they're continuing to trend the right way. The other one was neighborhood empowerment, where we're working with our neighborhood organizations, and last week we had the National Night Out, and you hosted with others the Audubon National Night Out in your area, but Felicia Knowles is doing a great job of bringing our communities together. Number 4 was dealing with strategic planning, and we're still working in that direction and did create a 5-year plan, but next year we do a larger community plan and bring different voices. And last but not least, it is telling the true story about what the city of Waterloo, who we are, what have we done. And so we've been trying to get out to different formats and different areas to tell that story. And we work with Wendy, we've been working with Waterloo Community Schools and various entities to talk about the great things that are happening instead of allowing other people to define who they believe we are on some false pretenses. That's a nice way to say it.
That's a great way to say it. And I think what people don't understand, and I can say this having worked in the media for 20 years, is that the media, it is not the job of KWWL or the Courier to tell good news. They are a business, and they unfortunately are profit driven, and they need eyeballs on the screen, and they need clicks on their websites. And so what they are going to share is what deviates from the norm. And I tell people every day we have 11,000 students going to and from school safely, but if one bus went into a ditch, that's what's deviating or the exception, and that's what they're going to cover. So when we think about Waterloo, we know that some of the pot shots, if you will, that make the headlines are truly the media telling us what are the exceptions. The vast majority of us, our streets, our families, are law-abiding, safe places to be. So it's those exceptions that become the news stories and the fodder that sometimes drives our image, which is unfortunate. But Wendy, your team have obviously done a great job of trying to counter that. And I think what I would say as an outsider, someone who now would call Waterloo home but lived all over the country, is this is the safest community where I've ever lived. So if you feel that we are unsafe or that crime is an issue, you need to put it in the perspective of larger or comparable communities in other states.
Right. And that doesn't say that as a community we don't face challenges or have problems, but when you only have negative information in a vacuum, that's what gets recycled over and over and over in that bag. And so there's so many great things taking place here. People really weren't hearing about them or seeing social media talk about them. So we've been trying to change that current and put it out there so people know what's happening here.
I can't not mention some of the exciting economic development shifts. When you think about the downtown, you go down there on a weekend especially, I mean, it's a bustling, fun, socializing opportunity for families and young people and people of all ages really to take advantage of the restaurants, new businesses. We also obviously have the big announcement of Lost Island, bringing in
Oh,
this
yeah.
amusement park that will be bigger and better than Adventureland, I'm hearing.
Right. It'll give us one more greater attraction to bring people here. And you mix that with Lost Island that will be across the street, which is the #2 water park in the United States and ranked internationally in the top 10 as well. You think about some of the corridors we have from the Northeast to the Southwest portions of our community and all the growth that they're starting to see. So this is a tremendous time in our history. I mean, you take a look downtown, you probably have more minority-owned businesses than we probably had in a long time. So it's about our ability collectively to deal with the challenges that we're facing, but also to celebrate those things that we don't have, because normally we celebrate what we don't have,
Right,
and that's a challenge.
right. When you think about the challenges and the successes and sort of moving the conversation forward and really continuing to progress in the right direction as a city, what do you hope someday that your legacy could be for the time that you've served in this position? How would one remember Mayor Quentin Hart in the light that you would hope?
Oh my goodness. So I haven't really stopped to think about legacy. You know,
You're young.
But you know, I've never really stopped to think about legacy. I know right now that I've been given a great opportunity to help transform who we are as a community. I know that I've had great mayors come before me and great staff to work with and a great citizenry. And the only thing I want to do is wake up every day, work as hard as I can, to try to help us to become, because we're not working for the city of today, we're working for the city of tomorrow by doing things today. Critical infrastructure needs to take place to set this city in the right place. So I just want to be a part of it. I want to have a servant's heart, and I just want to do the best job for this city I can. So I didn't campaign on being the first black mayor. You know, I campaigned on being the best mayor in comparison to those that have come before me who I've had an opportunity to learn from.
And one last question. When you think about the little Quentin Hart out there who might catch this program on mom or dad or grandma and grandpa's television, and they're watching and they're thinking, you know, someday maybe I'd like to be mayor, why would you encourage anyone to set that goal or dream before them? Because when you were the little Quentin Hart, you know, running the streets of Waterloo, perhaps there were a lot of people, obviously, that helped you fulfill that vision, but it had to have been, you know, planted in your heart and mind that you could achieve that. So what is your message to that person?
To whatever you do it for the right reasons. Know that you were placed on this earth to not just be average, to be absolutely incredible. Know that you have value, that you have worth, and that your opinion, your abilities, and all the God-given things that you've been given, that they are important to who we are as a community, and that you're important. Because when you understand that you have somewhat of a value, when you understand that you have a purpose, then you operate a little bit differently. And whether our young people know their purpose at this point, we know that getting an education, going to school, studying, listening to wise counseling, all those things would help move them towards that point. So that's what I would like to let our young people know, that they're fantastic, they're incredible, and the mayor is proud of them.
Well, thank you for that inspirational message and for all you do to reach out and to support bringing the youth up, you know, along the way. And that is unfortunately about all the time we have for our great conversation here with Mayor Quentin Hart. Thanks so much to the mayor for taking time out of his busy schedule to talk about the love that he clearly has for Waterloo. And just thank you for watching.
When I ride my bike, I am always very careful and stay safe at all times. I always wear a properly fitted helmet. I check the safety lights in the front and back of my bike, and no matter where I ride, I keep an eye out for cars, even when riding on the sidewalk. This message is brought to you by Drive Safe Cedar Valley.
Looking for something to do? For entertainment, shopping, eating, and more, go to experiencewaterloo.com for complete listings of so many exciting activities, places, and venues. Also, be sure to check out what is going on in downtown Waterloo on our Main Street website, and that's www.mainstreamwaterloo.org. And thanks, Tara, for giving viewers an opportunity to see our city in perhaps a new way. And I would also, on this occasion, like to thank the staff and crew for their determination, hard work, putting up with me, and skill that makes these shows possible. And they are mostly volunteers whose work is dedicated to enhancing communication and fostering an appreciation for our beloved city. And also, I would like to take a special thank you to William Kay, who's one of the toughest producers in the entire country, that had a conversation prior to us beginning about what can we do to say about this tremendous city that we live in, and how can we show the best of what we have to offer as a community. So please take time out to watch the credits so that you can learn who they all are. And for all of you out there, please join us next time. And thanks for watching Heart for the City. And until then, I think you'll agree,
it's a great day to be in Waterloo.